Welcome to Lakefront Empire. No, I'm sorry. I screwed that up. Let's go to Lakefront Hangover.
Lakefront Hangover.
Yeah, episode what?
I think we're on eight here.
Yeah, we're on 8. So we're on Lakefront Hangover, episode 8.
We're talking about Lakefront Empire, episode 7.
Correct. Which kind of news? It got moved to Tuesdays at 10 a.m.
Yep. For whatever reason, the network decided to try a change.
Yep.
Move it to a different day and a different time slot. The people that work with the production company notified us and just said that sometimes they like to change time slots and see what kind of, how it plays out.
Yeah. So we are now competing with the young and the restless. I've had several people ask me, and they're like, well, what does this mean? And I said, hey, I'm already a has-been,
Yeah, 5 minutes of fame, it is what it is. So
most people get 15, we got 5.
Yeah, exactly. So, who knows what it means? I can see how sometimes they like to move things around here or there to see if it works in a different time spot or something like that. So, we spoke to the director, he was a little disappointed in the change, but, he did say it was a really tough thing when Lakefront Empire came out. Several of our episodes were in direct competition with the women's NCAA basketball tournament.
With March Madness in general.
March Madness.
And with Caitlin Clark, the women's were out of this world.
There's record ratings for them, which is great. You love hearing that for the women's basketball. It's great for them, but kind of hurt a few of the episodes of our show where it hurt the ratings for people tuning in when it aired and stuff. So,
So again, we have absolutely no idea if there will be a season 2 or not.
We hope so. It'd be nice.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
Yeah, I've thought often, now that we've got a season under our belt and we've experienced this, we kind of know what they're trying to do and everything. And if we could get a second season, we could be a lot more efficient in setting up the shows that they want, the episodes and the clients and the properties and everything. So, and have had a chance to see a season where we weren't involved in every episode. Obviously, we're only involved in a few of them. But see how they've primary in 3, and then we had a couple others we had little cameos in and stuff. So. But to see how they're structuring these episodes, kind of give us a better feel for what they're really trying to do, so we can help be prepared for that. So hopefully we get another season. I really would love to, because I think it was a lot of fun and, brings good exposure to the Lake of the Ozarks.
Yeah, it was. And, so again, we just have no idea what's going on, and we're just kind of sitting back enjoying the ride. So we hope you're enjoying it with us.
I'm enjoying it too, but it's time to talk about yesterday's episode.
So yesterday, we're going to start off first talking about Gerardo. So Gerardo, he's from Jeff City.
Jefferson City.
So he's coming down. He's got clients
from Jeff City.
Yeah,
and he's done deals with them before, helped him with some land deals up there. And the Wolves are obviously clients and friends of his, and they have 4 daughters that are.
My God, can you imagine? I mean, I'm not picking on women. I have 1 daughter. I can't imagine 4 daughters.
I have 2 boys. So, but they have 4 daughters, and they are all big into cheer competition.
Show Me Athletics, which is down here.
We're very familiar with Show Me Athletics. My son Evan, he does tumbling there. He came to me a couple of years ago and said, "Dad, I want to learn how to do a backflip." And I said, I can't teach you how to do that. So let's sign you up for some gymnastics classes. And we ended up at the Show Me Athletics. And
so he's been doing that. Arabella did it for a little bit. And it is what they said, 4 hours. It's absolutely a cult. I mean, and
but I've been there, because when Evan first started doing his classes, that's when Nancy was going through her chemo treatments.
Yeah.
So I would minimize her exposure to people. And that's a kind of a small place. You got all those kids and parents in there and everything. So I was there seeing this thing where Evan's there for an hour. They're probably on hour 3 of their class, maybe hour 4. But watching them practice and how intense their practices are and how hard they work and all the routines, I was thoroughly impressed.
Well, they've won national championships.
Oh, they got banners all over the place up there. So they're a highly successful cheer squad.
Yeah, it's really big. It's really great. If you're into that, absolutely check them out. Lance and Daniel own the place. Great guys. Matter of fact, Justin Wagner built that building for him. And if you don't know Justin Wagner, refer to episode 1. So he actually built that building for him. Great guy, and so it's a great deal. But anyways, we're getting off topic. So we're not here to talk about Show Me Athletics, although it is amazing. So clients come in, the girls are going to be tumbling. They're like, hey, let's get a second house at the Lake of the Ozarks. She has a budget of 6 to 7.
Yeah,
right?
6 to 7. He was about more 4 to 5. So
sounds a lot like me and my wife.
Sure, I think it sounds a lot like a lot of husband and wife.
I'm not going there. I'm only talking about me.
but hey, it looks like she won the argument on the properties they were looking at. They looked at one up to 5, and I think another one up to 7. And it was the one up to 7 they decided to make the offer on.
Well, let's talk about the first one. The first one, what do you get for $500,000? So you got a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom house.
Well, remember, they were looking in Osage Beach.
Yeah.
So that's tough. You got, when you ask that question, you got to preface it where are we looking at in the Lake of the Ozarks?
Yeah.
So Osage Beach has got some of the highest property values there are, especially for lakefront homes.
Yeah, well, yes and no. I would say Porto Chima and the Villages are probably the top tier, most expensive properties. And then I would put Lake Ozark and Osage Beach together as the second highest. But, it's just a lot of, Osage Beach was developed first. So a lot of the houses are older homes.
I just feel like in the past, when I've looked at the stats on the average sale price of, I think lakefront homes in Osage Beach, there's not as many of them, obviously, because there's a lot more of them in Porto Chima, Village of Four Seasons, but I feel like that average price has been pretty high.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. So the first house they look at, back of a cove, shallow water.
Yeah, and Gerardo hit it right on the nail right from the very beginning. Met Sierra there. She kind of, introduced him to the house, and he's looking at it. He knew right off the bat that was going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Which it is. I mean, we've had multiple occurrences in multiple episodes now where we've looked at homes with clients in the back of coves where you got shallow water, and unfortunately, that's going to be the case if you're on a tight budget and especially in a highly valued area like Osage Beach is. You're going to find that your options are going to be back of a cove. Or it could be out on the main channel with a really steep property or something like that.
And let's be honest, that's not like the most detrimental thing in the entire world. The most detrimental is having a lakefront house and not having a dock. That's the most detrimental. But like I said before, my community dock, you can't drop the slip right now. It's May 1st. I still can't get my boat slip
this
down.
would have been a beautiful day for you to get your boat out.
Yeah, it would have been a really nice day. But at the same time, you just got to pick and choose your battles where you got to choose them. So if you're on a limited budget and you have to have lakefront with a private dock, you're going to have to understand that you're going to have some gives and takes.
Absolutely.
As we call them, concessions.
So
the $500,000 house didn't work out.
Didn't work out. Obviously, two things. Obviously, we already talked about shallow water, and then also, because their daughters are so big into cheer, and they expect them to have friends over and stuff like that. They want them to have a place where they can actually practice their routines and everything.
Now, let's talk about that, because a lot of people would say, oh, come on, you're just being ridiculous. But we actually do deal with people all the time that everything surrounds the kids and what they want to do.
And children are your life.
Yeah, and so if they don't have the space for that, especially with the Show Me Athletics, because that's intense. Like, they're doing that all day, every day. So, I know that some people may look at it and go, oh my God, these people are being pretentious and blah, blah, blah. But, if that's your lifestyle, that's your lifestyle.
I could see, just fun at the lake. They're big into cheer. You want them to have, if they want to, practice their routines or something, have some sort of place where they can do that.
Yeah.
Like I said, Evan's doing tumbling there, and we really encourage him to do practicing at home and everything.
Yeah.
And he needs a high ceiling and a place where he can work on those things.
Yeah.
So.
And did you have tall enough ceilings? I can't remember from the last episode.
Yeah. And he's not being thrown in the air and doing a whole bunch of backflips and all that stuff yet. No,
not for you.
No, that's not a good idea. So.
Okay.
But it does make sense. So unfortunately, that first house didn't work out for him.
Yeah.
The second house.
To the second house.
Another home in Osage Beach.
Got deep water.
Higher. It looks like they went up on their budget.
Yeah.
The first house was under $500. This one was just under $700,000.
Yeah.
I think it was at $680 or something like that.
Yeah.
So you get to see you go up a couple $100,000 in price, and all of a sudden now you got a little bit nicer home.
Yeah.
You got better water conditions and everything. The view was gorgeous from that property.
Yeah. And let's be honest, she always wins.
Typically, yes.
The same old saying, happy wife, happy life. And I don't think people realize how much men bend over to make sure that their wives are really happy.
Yeah.
But cost him an extra $200,000. And I'm sure they're both really happy.
It was a beautiful home. I love Gerardo's idea where he's shown him the house, and then he knew that an area for the girls to be able to do their routines and everything was going to be important. And you saw it come up in the episode where the wife was really questioning, hey, where's this going to happen? But after they looked at the house and looked at the dock and everything, he took them up to the garage.
Yeah.
And showed them the garage and proposed that as an idea where you could put down some mats or something on the floors and everything. The garage ceilings are relatively tall enough that they could go up in there and do their routine.
Well, if they're just using it as a weekend home, then they don't really need to use the garage. So, it's a great use for the garage.
I agree with you 100%. Absolutely.
And we've actually seen people here at the lake, when it's a secondary home, convert their garages into more living space, bedroom space. It's amazing how much that garage really, truly isn't important when it's in a secondary home as much as more living space.
Absolutely.
So,
they made an offer on it. But unfortunately, it looks like they were unable to put a deal together. So,
and believe it or not, that happens all the time. All the time.
Yeah, a lot. I mean, I wish I had put every deal together I ever wrote on something.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd have a lot more money.
Yeah, absolutely.
And a lot more time on our hands.
Maybe so. I might have retired a while ago.
Yeah.
Moving on, we talk about Sierra and her clients. You got Carrie and Tanya.
Yeah.
They appear to be that they are very knowledgeable of the Lake of the Ozarks. Carrie just recently sold a condo down here. So it looks like Tanya still owns a home at the lake, and they've decided that they got engaged to get married. Yeah. And rather than move into one or the other's property, they decided to buy another property that's all theirs.
So let's talk about her Babes on Waves thing.
Yes.
That's kind of actually really interesting.
I'd never heard of that, but I was watching that episode with my wife, and she was instantly impressed and interested in that. You got a group of ladies that gets together on a date every day of the week, and Wednesdays it sounds like, and they ride around their wave runners. It sounds like they go, whether they just ride around or go hop in somewhere to have a meal and maybe a couple drinks or something and just have a good time.
That's right.
That sounds like a really fun thing to do.
Our Aunt Sue had something different, but I don't think I can say what they called it.
Probably not. No, Aunt Sue. Aunt Sue, we love you.
Aunt Sue, you're a lot of fun. So we got Babes on Waves. So they got a budget of $1.5 million. What does $1.5 million get you?
I mean, again, talking about depending on where you're going, it'd buy you a pretty nice house.
Yeah.
And what stuck out to me, especially that first home that they were looking at, which I thought was a beautiful home, but you can see, different standards that people have. I'm more of a traditionalist when it comes to like kitchen cabinetry and stuff like that. But it certainly had the older oak cabinets in it.
Yep.
And she was like,
Yeah, a lot of earth tones, stuff like that.
She didn't like that. She wanted a lot lighter colors.
You know what I caught, though, that I couldn't believe she didn't like, but it makes a little bit of sense to me. I loved the mini split AC system over the bed. You remember that?
Sure, yeah. And you do see that in a lot of these homes. Sometimes you get these older homes that back then they just didn't quite know how to calculate the amount of how much airflow you needed in rooms and stuff like that, and you get these big soaring ceilings in some of these places, and you have a tough time cooling those down in the July, August, early September days when it's over 100 degrees outside.
Well, yeah, and our electric bills have just gone through the roof, and I'm not saying anything bad about it. I mean, everything's through the roof. Everything. The price of eggs now is just shocking. So, but I thought it was great because, scientific studies do show that it is better for your body, both mentally and physically, if you sleep in a colder space than when you normally operate. So I thought that was a phenomenal idea. It really helps save on cooling costs because you don't have to cool the whole house. And if you like the air on you at night, it's right there. I just all around thought it was a great idea.
But for her, I think a lot of it was the placement of it.
Yeah.
She, aesthetically, looking in there, you got this big, beautiful bedroom. You're going to probably have a really nice bedroom suite in there. I bet she's envisioning a big, beautiful picture or artwork or something over the headboard.
Probably a mural of me.
And she's looking up there and she sees this mechanical item You know, that clearly it has functionally it has a very good purpose.
Yeah.
I mean, I would enjoy that as well, sleeping in that bed, you know, and have nice cool air blowing out to help keep the room cooled down for you. But, you know, aesthetically, she's looking at it saying, this ain't going to work for me.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Well, you know, kind of is what it is. So that house didn't end up working out, right? So then we go to the second house in Gravois Mill.
Gravois Mills. Now, is it Gravois? Gravois?
I've always left the S's silent on both, which, let's be honest, none of us understand the English language.
Exactly, yeah.
But I always called it Gravois Mill. I didn't pronounce, but I've heard some people call it Gravis.
It's always fun when people call that aren't incredibly familiar with the lake area, and you're talking to them about properties they're seeing online, and they start asking, "Is this? How do you say this? Gravois? Gravois? You know, I mean, I've heard people say that about Osage Beach. You know, them say Osage Beach, or you know.
Generally, if somebody calls me and they say, "Is this Justin Farrell in Osage Beach?" Nope, not me. Sorry, don't care what you're selling.
Probably some telemarketer or something.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So. Gravois Mill, you call it Gravois Mills. We don't know which one's correct, but it is what it is. So we got a really nice house out in Gravois Mill.
Oh, it's a gorgeous home.
Absolutely beautiful.
Like over an acre of property.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine that. So.
Yeah, imagine cutting the grass.
Some people like that.
Yeah, I know. And if you want to cut grass, give me a call. Come down to the soccer field. So
you could use some help, right?
So they ended up not moving forward with that purchase.
No, they really liked the house. You know, but you know what Sierra was afraid of from the very beginning, unfortunately, was the location of it.
Yep.
You know, just the fact, you know, they seem to be like they prefer that the main area between Lake Ozark, Four Seasons, Osage Beach, and up in Gravois Mills. Or I don't know what mile marker they were at there on the Gravois mark,
I can't remember.
but it was a ways off the beaten path that they're familiar with.
Yes,
so,
it was.
You know, I think it was a gorgeous home and it looked really good, but yeah, unfortunately, they didn't like it. So.
Dang.
No, they liked the house. They didn't like the location.
Yeah.
And how often have you heard that? Now, believe me, how many times have you heard in your business, like, if I could have this house on that lot.
Oh, yeah.
With that dock.
Oh, yeah.
At that price. You know, it's like, sorry guys, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
So.
Or, you know, the one thing that always drives me crazy. You sit down, you have your needs and wants analysis with your buyers, you hear everything they say, I've heard everything you've got to say, and you find them the absolute perfect house. This is it. It's got all the things you asked for, and then they go, yeah, but it just doesn't feel right. Like, God! But real estate, you know, residential real estate is emotional.
It is emotional. Residential real estate is emotional, and there is something to that because, like, the house that Nancy and I bought, the moment I saw that come across the MLS, I knew I was buying that house.
Yeah.
You know, and we walk in that house, I was like, yep, I think we're buying this house.
Yeah.
You knew it when you and Carrie bought your house now.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That was a long time ago, but you still knew when you walked in, it's like, okay, yeah, we're making an offer on this thing.
Just so we're clear, and you guys didn't get to see it, but I walked into that house not wanting to buy a house. It's a second tier house. I saw the view, I saw the open floor plan on the main level, and then I looked at my wife's face and I called the bank immediately because I just knew I was buying this house. So yeah, I mean, usually most people, once they walk in within 15 seconds, you can tell whether or not they're interested. I mean, it's pretty quick.
Yeah.
So, and
Absolutely.
by the way, buyers, if you're watching this right now, in that 15 seconds, if you make the decision you're not buying, just look at your agent and say, hey, you know what? Let's not waste time. Let's go to the next one.
Yeah, no, I agree. You got usually those times you have a lot of properties you're looking at anyway, so it's a good time saver.
Especially now coming into our market because we are starting to see that inventory climb.
Inventory's climbing, days on market's going up a little bit. You're going to have more opportunities to shop, you know, and look at other properties. So, but and we tell people all the time, you're right. If we pull up and you can tell pulling up that you do not like it, then let's just move on. You know, as a realtor, your job is to be professional. Make sure you call that agent and say, hey, sorry, they didn't like what they saw when we pulled up. We just moved on.
Yeah.
Or, you know, or go inside and still try to give some sort of feedback because that seller's sitting there anxious to know, you know, what did they think? Did they like it? Or if they don't like it, why didn't they like it?
Yeah,
you know?
why? Why didn't you? Like agents, be professional, fill out the feedback. Don't just answer the drop-down questions. Always fill out why are you not writing a contract, because the seller really has their hopes and dreams set on selling this house and making their next move.
And if nothing else, it's a level of professional courtesy.
It is.
You don't have to go into a big paragraph or anything about it.
No.
If they just say, man, they didn't like the location. All right, thank you. I can tell my clients that. But also, we've seen it happen where they say something they didn't like. Maybe your seller says, I can fix that. Maybe who knows what it is. They hated the color of the walls or whatever. It's like, hey, we can fix this.
Yeah,
so, yes,
absolutely.
Either way.
Or if you think it's $150,000 overpriced, stop being a chicken and just put it in there. Hey, we felt this property was $150,000 overpriced.
Yeah.
Great. Then the agent and the seller both know your understanding. They may think you're crazy, but at least you were courteous.
And don't get upset with the agent that says you think you're significantly overpriced, because that's why you could march 10 different agents through there and probably come up with 10 different price points.
Absolutely.
But I've seen other agents get upset when you tell me you feel like it's significantly overpriced, and they get upset with you about it.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's my opinion.
Yeah.
Share it with your client. Hopefully you've had a number of showings and you can just track to see what the trend is.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm the one aberration.
Yeah, and if 5 people walk through your house and they all say it's overpriced, well, time to go back to the drawing board. Time to adjust the price.
Absolutely.
And I'm glad you brought up days on market. I want to shift over to Gabrielle?
Gabrielle, the agent out of Springfield.
Yeah, so
first time we've
Gabrielle-
seen her in the.
Yeah, we had this was like the wild card that just came flying in. Jonas and I didn't even know. You said
I thought I'd heard something about another agent that was in part of one of the episodes, but
but I had no idea. Of course, I'm always the last to know. But so Gabrielle comes in, Springfield agent. She was an Olympic swimmer
from
in
Mexico, just south of the Texas border.
Came to America, got an education, using her education in America. Love that. I love the immigrant story. Absolutely love it. I'm all for legal immigration. Absolutely. Let's keep that going. So anyways, they went to Gravway Mill and they actually looked at a dome house.
Yeah, they said that it was important to them. What I found interesting is neither one of them seemed to be really familiar with the Lake of the Ozarks. She had never been there, apparently.
Where were they from, Phoenix?
Yeah, I think Phoenix. I can't remember right. But they recently relocated to Missouri. But now they're looking for a second home, is my understanding. But either way, it was interesting that she had never been to the Lake of the Ozarks. And he had been here a couple times, like for a conference or something like that, but they had decided it was time to buy a second home here at the lake. Their kids love to go outside, be outdoors and everything, which is fantastic. Get your kids outside as much as you can. Yeah. And they really wanted a unique and quirky home.
Yeah.
They didn't want any of that cookie cutter, spec home that you find in a lot of communities and everything.
Yeah.
So, and they found one. We've seen a few of those dome houses around the lake area. They're not very common, but you've seen a few of them here and there, and they definitely, they're definitely eye-catching when you pull up and say, well, this is different.
Yeah, well, it's definitely different. You either love it or you hate it. There's just no way around that. It's kind of like the octagon houses, like
up in treetops,
Holiday Shores. You either love them or you hate them.
Yep.
It is what it is. So I have some concerns about Gabrielle. Hopefully she gets guided, because how many times have you worked with somebody that wants to sell their property? You used a downtown agent. They didn't know they had to have permits on the docks, and then you ended up swapping out the dock, and they didn't get a dock permit modifications and everything else. So again, it's stay hyper focused in your area. Don't go outside your lane.
Or do what Amanda did. Find a local agent to be kind of your mentor. Come up with some sort of financial arrangement for referral fees or whatever that kind of help offset that agent's time and effort spent with you to educate you on what to do here. I think that was a great solution to a potential problem that Amanda had.
Yeah.
So.
But always make sure you put the client before your commission.
Absolutely.
Always do that. If Brian Buffini says, if you hand it out in slices, it'll come back to you in loaves. So remember that. But so anyways, the reason we pivoted over though is because I wanted to talk about the days on market, and they brought it up in the show that it had been on the market for how many days?
Like 80 days.
80 days. Oh my God, 80 days. That's so long.
Yeah, talk about that. I think Gabriel was talking about that being a long time on the market, and certainly during the COVID market, that would have been an infinite amount of time. you know. But again, I've been doing this for 25 years. You've been doing it for 17 years now. I remember a long period of time when I first got in the market for, you know, probably the first dozen years or more, it was nothing for a listing to sit on the market for 6 months.
Well, let's be honest, it was before the internet.
Well, no, not the internet. It was just a fad, you know.
The internet's a fad.
But it was not uncommon for listings to sit on the market for 4 to 6 months and then the listing to get renewed. You know, it just, our market wasn't nearly as strong back then as it is now.
Correct.
You know, now if a place has been on the market for that long, there's a good chance that it might be overpriced. You know, we still see, for the most part, you know, property should sell within the first 30 to 60 days, or else A, you're overpriced, or B, there's a problem with the property.
Yeah.
You know?
But days on market, though, right now is not saying that there's a problem with the property. Correct?
Most of the time it's price.
Well, but what I'm saying is there's a lot, like during COVID, which everybody just remembers COVID right now. Everybody seems to have forgotten about the Great Recession when properties were on the market for 270 days before they got a contract offer. But 80 days isn't a long time to be on the market because buyers are really taking their time now.
So you're the one that's big into the stats and great, you know, with the NAR and everything they put out, and Lawrence Yun and everything.
Yeah.
You know, in NAR's opinion, what is, you know, should be the average days on market? You know, what's a good, you know, balanced market? What would be the average day on market?
I can't answer that for you, but I'm going to be publicly scrutinized.
Okay.
But I would say anywhere between 60 to 90 days would be considered a healthy market.
On the average listing.
On on the average listing, because you know, then you've got time. It's got it's got time to syndicate out to all the different websites. People have time, especially in what we're called a tertiary market or a secondary market.
I always say we sell we want, not we need.
Yes, we sell wants, not needs. And so, you know, people are looking at their feeds through whatever real estate portal that they're looking at, you know, and they can't get down here immediately like that. So, I mean, if it's priced like, holy crap, we got to get this done today, or somebody else is, then yeah, it'll be gone. And kudos to the seller and the seller's agent for being able to work that out and come to that realization. But we're still seeing sellers push that price.
Well, and you've seen that even back during the recession and everything. You know, sellers, I mean, they have a lot of pride in their home. You know, they've got a lot of emotion attached to it, a lot of time spent making it into what it is. And, you know, a lot of times it's, you know, they wholeheartedly believe that this is what it should be worth. You know, but I tell everyone all the time, especially today, nobody knows more about what your home is worth than what buyers do. Why? Because they're actually the ones out there shopping. You know, they're looking at properties. And if you've got a property out there and nobody's looking at it, you know you're overpriced. You know, and if you got a property that people are looking at, but they're not making you offers, you're still probably a little high on your price.
You know, our sister made a great comment one time on a listing. If you have no showings in 30 days or no offers after 8 showings, you're overpriced. Any way you look at it. And the number one, everybody always says the number one thing in real estate is location, location, location. But you and I know that my opinion is that's not the truth. The number one thing in real estate is price, because you can overcome any obstacle if the price is correct. Price
overcomes all objections.
That's right. So price, that's all it is. But 80 days on the market is really not that big of a deal. You know, in my opinion, as long as you're getting lots of activity, lots of showings, and if all those agents that are showing the property are saying that you're priced at market value, if they're actually being truthful. There's a lot of agents that will just go through it real quick and just not want to upset anybody. So did they end up consummating that deal?
It sounded, you know, they ended it like they put the deal together, but didn't get any specifics on that. But
and that's been a tough part of the show. We don't really, you know, they've kind of left everything on a cliffhanger, it seems like. So we don't really know if they're buying or if they're not.
And you and I aren't actively going into the MLS or county records and checking to verify if this closing actually happened or not.
No, we're not stalking.
No, we're not cyber stalking them or anything. So, but you know, they certainly concluded it as if a deal had been struck, and
or at least they were attempting to get a deal struck.
Absolutely. So, which I thought that was a really cool house. You know, I actually could see if you're looking for a second home how a home like that could be really attractive to somebody, especially if you like a more unique, what they call quirky style house.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And I love how they touched on, the Gravois Mills community, which we'll have to do this sometimes, talking about the different kind of personalities that the different communities around the lake have. Because they showed it in the show, or kind of a little bit of the town for Gravois Mills and the features they have, and it does feel like you're stepping back in time a little bit.
Yeah.
Especially if you're in Osage Beach, Lake Ozark, Camdenton, and then you made that 30-minute drive up to Gravois Mills and drove. It's just a small little area, but drove through there. You feel like, wow, we just went through a portal and stepped back into time here.
Yeah, they even showed a little shot of the collector's paradise, that's been there for years, and they got stuff all over it.
Yeah, but that's what's so nice about the Lake of the Ozarks. We got a little bit for everybody.
Yeah,
there's a lot of people that's what they don't want to come to the lake and see another franchise like they see it where they're from. They want to come to the lake. They want to go to a unique restaurant or a store or something like that they don't get where they are visiting from.
That's why you and I always say that mom and pops are always the best places to go eat at.
Absolutely.
I mean, they are the best places. You always get the local flavor, which is phenomenal. That's what we do anytime we go on vacation. We try and find a mom and pops. I mean, that's where we want to eat. Well, we've been at this for 32 minutes. I think we should probably wrap it up.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm excited. We're, one episode left for Lakefront Empire. That'll be airing next Tuesday morning. So I'll be excited to see how that episode turns out.
And then we'll have to figure out what to talk about after that.
Absolutely. And our intention is to continue our, is this, what do you call this, podcast, vlog, or whatever?
Yeah, something like that.
We're going to continue with Lakefront Hangover and try to bring everybody some value and some education about the Lake of the Ozarks, the community, and the real estate market down here.
I guess, let's see. So next week we could talk about the last episode. And then I guess after that we could talk about probably the biggest thing that's got the most misinformation in the national news right now, which would be the Buyers Agency Commission lawsuit.
Sure. I could see, quite a few videos being posted about that.
Yeah.
So.
We can give you the true stats on it, the true what's happening. Since I'm a director with NAR, I'm getting constantly fed data from the National Association. There's a lot of mistruths out there about what's going on and everything else. So
I think the biggest thing is don't believe everything you hear the national media saying.
Oh, better yet, just turn them off.
Yeah, all they do is give you little highlights, little snippets, and they don't do the time to really research the topic.
Well, what are they doing? I mean, they're putting out clickbait.
Yeah.
That's all they're doing.
They want to sell advertising.
Yeah, they have to sell advertising. Well, in order to sell advertising, we need viewers. And let's be honest, as Americans, we love crap. We swim in crap.
Well, we love clickbait stuff. We do.
Yeah.
We're all guilty of it. From different topics that we're interested in, and
you never hardly ever see in the news the Good Samaritan story because nobody really seems to care about that.
They like it. It just isn't it doesn't catch your attention quite as quickly as something bad.
Yeah, it's kind of like, you drive down the road all the time and you ignore everything, but if all of a sudden you're pinched into a one lane because there's a bad car wreck, every single person slows down and does that look. Ooh, hey, move the body over here. I want to see it a little better.
See how bad this is.
I stole that from a comedian. Just real quick, by the way. I would give the comedian credit if I could remember, but I can't remember. So, anyways, thanks for watching. We appreciate you, and we'll see you next week, Wednesday.
Yep, get this posted on Wednesday, hopefully. And as always, go Chiefs.